his inspiration, his resilience that have kept us in each other's lives. Facing a stage 4 lung cancer diagnosis, Frank has been anything but a warrior. I mean, everything in a warrior, ninja in his battle. Honestly, I'm really not sure if cancer knows who they picked on when they picked you, but let me tell you, they've got their hands full. Frank has been a tremendous advocate for cancer patients in our community and spent tireless hours out working with patients and others. He's an exercise specialist, but through his journey, he's paying it forward and has recently become certified as a cancer exercise specialist. And will be working with me and our team in the Cancer Center to bring this incredible service to our community. So with a big round of applause, please welcome Frank.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure for me to be here today to take part in this Surviving Beyond Cancer celebration. Today I feel like the up-and-coming local musician who was given the opportunity to take the stage after Carrie Underwood and before Pharrell Williams. This is quite an honor. With that music theme, I'd like to not only share my journey with cancer, but also to send out a message for hope. And it can be summed up by borrowing 3 lines from a favorite song of mine that I try to believe, follow, and live by. The song simply says, don't let hope become a memory. Ignite the fire within you. Sometimes in darkness can show you the light. It was the spring of 2016, and I had been a personal trainer for 26 years. So like everybody that I trained, I too was looking to shape up a little bit more for summer. I began working with another trainer and nutritionist for the month of May to see how much progress I could make in my mid-50s. It was during this training that I developed a hacky little cough in early June. It was more of an annoyance than anything, clearing my throat or letting out a couple weak coughs while speaking. I visited my physician assistant mid-June, who recommended an antibiotic and an allergy medicine, and a return appointment for 2 weeks. When I returned with the same symptoms in early July, she ordered a chest and a sinus x-ray. When she returned to the room with a worried look on her face and asked if I had ever had a chest x-ray before, I knew something just wasn't right. After review by Dr. Miller, my primary doctor, he informed me there was something showing on my left lung, which appeared as a shadow, and referred me immediately to a pulmonary doctor. Dr. Imad diagnosed fluid in my left lung and set up an appointment to have that lung drained. As it turned out, I had a full 2 liters worth of fluid drained from my left lung. Wow. The fluid was sent for analysis, and on July 16th, Dr. Imad hesitantly informed me that that fluid contained cancer cells, and I had lung cancer. To say I was stunned would be an understatement. Bronchitis, maybe, pneumonia, possibly, but lung cancer, no way. I literally asked him if he was sure that the chart he was holding was mine. While I do have a history of cancer, 2 sisters, as well as my mother and father, I was healthy. I didn't smoke. I didn't work in any harmful environments. While cancer may have been expected at some point in my life, lung cancer now definitely wasn't. I barely remember walking to the waiting room where my wife was sitting and then casually saying, okay, let's go. It wasn't until we got to the car that she asked, well, what is it? And for the first time I said, it's lung cancer. It's true. If you have lungs, you can get lung cancer. Follow-up scans on July 27th revealed the cancer was stage 4, and it had spread to both lungs as well as my leg, hip, shoulder, stomach, and back. When I first met Dr. Barbara Radkar, my life-saving oncologist, she told me that I would have this for the rest of my life. She said it doesn't go away, but we will work together and try to contain it and keep it from developing or spreading further. She said we will first try plan A, and if that doesn't work, we will try B, C, D. We keep trying. When she told me not to Google anything about lung cancer, she was already too late. Because I already Googled lung cancer and was initially devastated by the statistics of the 9-month survival rate of only 50% and the 5-year survival rate much worse at only 4%. I also learned the term terminal, which was in my diagnosis. It was then that I was determined to be the 4%, and if necessary, I would be a 1%. It was during that first visit that I said to her, Dr. Radkar, you know I'm going to beat this. Come along, because we're going to have a heck of a ride. We're going to make history. I don't know if she fully believed me on that day, but almost 3 years later, I have a pretty good idea that she does now. She was concerned with my thigh, as the cancer in this large and important bone was more prevalent, and she feared that it could weaken or even break. I thought to myself, great, I did squats in the gym yesterday, and today they tell me your leg may be weak and it might break. So I started 2 weeks of daily radiation, while my fluid was further analyzed for any genetic mutations before beginning chemo treatment. By the way, if you ever had radiation on your upper thigh or anywhere in that neighborhood, if you have feelings of shyness or any inhibitions, you quickly lose them. Thankfully, I never had those feelings. They make small markings all around the specific radiation target area, and they put Scotch tape over those markings so they stay visible for 2 weeks. They present a precise target for that daily radiation beam. Each day, you come in, strip to your underwear, and get the markings lined up on the table to have the precise area targeted. The technicians all made me feel so comfortable, which is fantastic, because first of all, you're scared to death, and second of all, you're pretty much standing there in your underwear with markings drawn all over you. They professionally hold a towel in front of you while you strip. But after day 2, I remember saying, you don't need to hold that towel. You've seen and marked it all. Let's just do this. On the day I rang the bell, signaling the completion of my 2 weeks of radiation, further testing did confirm a genetic mutation, and I was going to start on Tarceva, a first-line daily chemo treatment, my plan A. As if that wasn't enough, I was also now scheduled to begin monthly bone strengthening infusions, since the cancer had spread to my bones, and they wanted to keep my bones as strong as possible. But my string of luck did not stop there. During the radiation treatments, I had the transmission go out on my car, which cost more to replace than the value of my car. And my daughter Caitlin called in the afternoon of my last day of treatment from 5 hours away, asking if someone could meet her for an appointment because that little spot she had on her ear, that turned out to be melanoma. My son Mike just happened to come home for a visit from California the night before. So my wife and I joined him in his rental car and took a road trip to Blacksburg. Caitlin saw an oncologist and plastic surgeon, and the melanoma was removed a few weeks later. And although half of her ear was removed, she is doing fine, and she's proven to be a real fighter. No, literally. She joined a boxing gym in Blacksburg, and she absolutely loves punching things, just like she did the cancer. Now I again faced my battle, multiple appointments and procedures, plus I had also been a teacher for 35 years, and it was now time to go back for a new school year. Remember, my transmission died. I had no car. My two sons, Mike and Mitchell, came to me and said they had always talked about buying me a new car. And they said they would do that someday. Well, now it pretty much turned out to be someday. As I started the new school year with my new daily T-Mobile, Torsiva, and my new car, I was going downhill fast. I had no appetite, no energy, no drive at all. I continued training clients in the gym that if I worked 2 sessions back to back, I would often lay down on the gym floor after that last session to gather enough energy to go to my car and make that short 10-minute drive home. By November, I had lost an additional 25 pounds that now I didn't need to lose. And when the scans that I had on election night came back,